I don't have a really good specific answer for that, other than you've identified something that's really critical. We've got a cognitive scientist and a team that we work with at Towson University, Dr. Ellen Sheffield, and she all the time talks to us about how this is not one flavor product definition, that it's multiple flavors, and that aging into disabilities, you know, you're not going to teach someone who's 80 years old typically, you know, how to use Braille to communicate, but you will be able to have completely scalable font sizes if you design the products that way and have a minimum screen size. So we've sort of worked with the Radio Reading Services Association, for example, and the folks at Helen Keller National Center and Gallaudet University in particular to try and set some minimum technical definitions that would support sort of an incremental approach that will help a lot in that direction. But we're not anywhere near the point that we should be in being able to say, you know, go to this website and you'll see the sequence of accessibility features you should build in.
Actually, at Georgia Tech, we're doing a lot of work on accessibility in that area. And one of the things that we really, really push is the importance of including focus groups in new product development and looking at whether it's the loudness or the tone or what type of features you can build into your device that isn't going to really cost you any more money and it'd be useful to a lot of other audiences. So we really push the whole idea of making sure you have focus groups in the initial design phases with design teams. Gentleman right there.
Yes, question for Mike May. Can you tell us what you're wearing? Have you put glasses on?
Oh, I was going to say this is a blue shirt, khaki pants, and actually it's, you probably can't see it from there. This is a ski tie. Yeah.
Those 3D glasses? Okay. Tell us about the other technology that you're wearing.
These are Oakley glasses, and they have Motorola Bluetooth earpieces. I understand that this their electronic line has been discontinued. I got to get by their booth and make sure, because the beauty of this for a blind person is when I'm walking down, when I'm crossing an intersection, I need to tip those earpieces up out of the way so I'm not blocking the sound of cars, particularly these days with hybrids. It's hard to hear them anyway. And then I can put them in when I'm in a place where I want to listen again, or I can put both in if I'm in a car and you have a hard time hearing a conversation. So it's just a nice, flexible way of having Bluetooth. Then the Braille Note device I have around my neck has a Braille display and speech output and a Braille keyboard for input. And that's a specialized device for the blind made by Humanware from Montreal, Canada. And it's my everything PDA.
As a company, we have all of our support is based in Detroit, Michigan, and one of the big things is making sure that you have a support organization that understands the needs of your customers. So if you're supporting, you know, internal business to business like IT, you can speak very quickly and use a bunch of jargon terms, and that's fine. I think that you need to understand what your user base is and what issues they have, and what we've seen at Livio is customers love to tell us what's going on. So when we have a customer that's blind that calls in, it's usually one of the first things they tell us. And we'll give them, we make sure the products are set up at their customer service workstation so they can give them a number of clicks on the wheel to move and you know, providing that support. From a back-end system, we use a system called Zendesk, which is our back-end customer service system. And with that, we have a CSS base. The CSS profile that's loaded in has minimum font sizes and is compatible with all of the PDA systems and also monitors social media through Twitter. So being able to access immediately seems to be, for any customer's organization, but specific to customers that might have different types of needs. We found a lot of them will tell us what's going on, but making sure that, you know, building your organization around being patient. So, you know, some users want answers really quick, some users want more feedback on it, and it's just like, you know, I treat it like someone, if my mom was calling me for help, the same exact thing. So just having that information available and being able to respond quickly.
Yeah, I find with a company like Audible that has a high percentage of blind users, it's easy to call in, and if the person you're talking to doesn't know about screen readers, which are the thing the blind people are using on their computers, they get you to somebody in the company who does know that specifically. So it's nice when they have some blindness-aware type of folks, even if everybody doesn't know about the specifics.
And the FCC just finished their rulemaking, and they're constantly in the mode of rulemaking, but the celebration of the ADA, Americans with Disability Act, and one thing that they're requiring is that more manufacturers get involved with making sure that whatever they have supports people with disabilities, which includes hearing loss, vision loss, and all of that. So if you go to most companies, they do have an accessibility manager on staff. So if you've tried all the other avenues at that company and you can't find the answer, ask them, do they have an accessibility manager who will track down the answers for you? Yes.
Question on the scope of the ADA and what it applies to. For example, in entertainment, when you buy a DVD or watch those television channels, there's often closed captioning and subtitles available. Very rarely is descriptive video available. What can be done to motivate entertainment distributors to include video? Or another example would be screen readers, as you mentioned. Third-party applications are often more expensive, and first-party applications that ship with most often the systems often aren't as extensive in their feature set. So what does the ADA drive changes to increase accessibility, or what can be done to drive those changes?
Well, the topic that you're addressing was specifically addressed in the 21st Century Video Accessibility Act that was signed in October. And it doesn't have specific requirements yet built into it about video description and how that might roll out on a requirement basis, but it sets a rather long process in motion with the FCC to define that over the next 10 years. So it'll probably be similar to the kind of incremental approach that we saw on captioning, where specific units of various sizes needed to support it, and that TV broadcasters needed to do a certain percentage in their major markets. And it began to roll out like that until it became pretty universal. But that was a fairly long process, if we look back on it, that took probably a quarter of a century to get to the point where you can almost always take it for granted that it will be there in some fashion.
And there's a step before descriptive video that I think is even more important, which is how the heck do I pick the program that's on the screen to begin with? And that's, for me, that's trickier. It comes up on all this beautiful stuff on your screen from TiVo or on a specific DVD, and there's menu choices, and you just push buttons. I'm constantly having to call the hotel and say, no, I didn't really order that porn movie. I mean, I just push buttons, but sometimes it's kind of scary what you end up getting.
Both Mikes bring up a good point, but Mike S. just talked about the new act on the 21st century. They're also working on updates for the emergency alert system and also the new commercial mobile alerting system. So your cell phone will be receiving alerts.